Hello everyone, David Sevens Guys here, and today I want to talk about how to clean up and organize your projects once they're done. Usually, you're in the production process, you just throw a bunch of sounds in your projects, and eventually you finish the track, and then it's time to mix it, and your project looks like a giant mess, pretty much like this one. So there are a few things in Logic that help us, especially Logic 10, that help us kind of cleaning up and make the project look a little bit tighter and a little bit cleaner. So let's go right into it. Now, first of all, this is the project. This is the original project of Rubicon, and you notice a thing already, and I just told you it's Rubicon, but if you read here, it's called farewellMaybe. This is the name of the project when it started, and it just, it just stayed that. And you also see it's not extremely messy. It was way messier before we started mixing it. But there's all these gray regions here are all muted stuff, and there's plenty of stuff that's kind of in the way, and we don't really need it there. Plus, all the names are pretty messy. Like here we have the kick, but it's called Untitled. And probably the folder of this project is pretty big. It's probably over 1 GB or 2. So first thing I do once I finish the production, so there's 2 stages. There's the production stage, and then there's the mixing stage. Sometimes I do both at the same time, but once I finish a track, there's always some sort of mixing or tweakings that you want to do. So usually when you're done with the track is when you go and fix the EQ, fix the volume of things, and pan things left and right, and all that kind of stuff. So let's pretend for a second that this track, it's finished, but hasn't been mixed yet. And the project looks like this. Now, first thing I'm gonna do, and this is not for the project itself, is just for my computer's health. I go right here and into project. I go to edit, select unused, and what's that gonna do? It's gonna select all the audio file that I threw into Logic when I was producing the track that I ended up not using. And so once Logic selected them all, I simply hit delete, and that's gonna delete all of the audio file that I didn't use, and that's gonna save space in my hard drive when I save the track. Now, and this is probably one of the most important things. This is like just you're probably familiar with how big project gets, especially if you save all the sounds that you use in the project. Usually at 2 GB or some stuff like that. If you do that, it's gonna save you a lot of space. Now, another thing that I do is, you notice over here, there are loops. So you can tell because this is a little bit darker. And it's cool, like it used to be worse in the previous version of Logic. Now they kind of fixed it. Yeah, loops are not, how can I say, they're really cool. They get stuff done really quickly, but sometimes they don't really give you as much control as you would like. Now, we're obviously at mixing stage, so we don't really care, but as an impact to the eye as well, sometimes it's easier to have regions that actually look like regions. So what I do is Control A, that in my shortcut selects all of them, and then with Control and L, I convert every region, every loop region to a real region. So there you go. So let's do it again. Control Alt, CMDA, actually not Control. And then with Control L, everything turns into a real region. And that's the stage. Like stuff is starting to look a little bit more consistent. It's a little bit easier to the eye. That's the only reason. It feels like it helps me. Then I go to edit. Whoops. Okay, sorry. Let's do it again. Then I go to edit and select muted region. And what's that going to do is going to select all the regions that during my production process were muted, because, you know, at some point I put a sound there and then I was like, I don't want this sound anymore. But I didn't delete it. I just muted it because maybe it was like, okay, for now it doesn't work, but I might go back to it later. But then at the end, I didn't. So all these regions here are basically pointless. They have no reasons to be there. And I think they also get a little bit of either RAM or CPU or memory in somehow. So if you go to edit, select muted region, what's that going to do is going to select all the muted region, and what you can do is simply hit delete. And you can see that the project is starting to look way cleaner already, and we haven't really done much. Now there's a lot of confusion on what is what and where is what and all that kind of stuff. So another thing that we can do, you see here the kick kind of got messed up. It doesn't even have the name, it has numbers and all that stuff. And there's two ways of renaming the regions, and one is to simply select the track, and that's going to select all the regions. Just make sure you don't have the loop region here selected, because if you do, what's going to do is going to select all the regions that are within the loop. So get rid of the loop, select the track, and then you see here region, and then you can give the name that you want. But there is a quicker way, which is you select the track, you go to function, and name region by track name. And what's that gonna do? You see here, kick, 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 kick. So here we basically don't have anything, but it looks like it's something that hasn't even been used because battery is off. So we can also play it to see if we do have something playing here, but I doubt it. So we can get rid of this whole channel as well. Here there is something that is muted, hasn't been used, so we can get rid of this as well. This is, you know, instrument 27. We don't know what it is, but we have the track name, so name regions. This we don't know what it is, but let's call it Omnisphere. You can obviously select a shortcut for that kind of stuff, but it's something I don't use that much, so I don't think it's like worthy of shortcut, at least to me. But you get the drill, you know. Well, obviously bass is pretty important, so let's name this. Name these as well. And yeah, basically we renamed all of our stuff, and it kind of gets a little bit better. Now, what's really important, especially to me, like the way I got used to make music and organize my project is through coloring, and I love coloring stuff. I hate color things in Logic 10 because I hate the color palette in Logic 10. Logic 9 colors were much better. I really love Logic 10 in general. I would never ever switch back to Logic 9, but if they could change the colors and bring back the colors from Logic 9, that would make me really, really happy. But that's not possible, so that's okay. Also, before I go to colors, I notice here that there's a region that has snares. Probably these snares were bounced. And there's a lot of silence in between here, so we select them all, the silence, and get rid of it. And there you go. Everything's a little bit cleaner, even in this case. Here, that's not necessary. And okay, now the way I color things is actually in Logic 10, the way I started doing it, it's simply follow this line. And usually what I do, well, you know already that what I do is my base is orange. That's basically the only thing that I kept. I kept from Logic 9 and Logic 7 and Logic 8 and all that kind of stuff. My base has always been orange. And then I tend to do the melodic stuff, like pianos and leads and all that kind of stuff, around these pinky colors. And then everything in between, I just decide as I go. One thing I started doing is the kick is red, because obviously is the most important part of a dance track. So you kind of want it to stand out a little bit, and that's how I do it. Now let's see the bass. I know that the bass is this one because obviously I colored it already, and it's pretty much all of this chunk of stuff. Just need to see if this one is an actual bass or not. And this is something that doesn't even play. Is it automated? Yes. And this is not the bass. This is a lead, so let's get rid of it. So yeah, the rest is definitely bass stuff. So what we can do is, now I need to see, okay, so you see here, this bass goes to bus 15, this goes to bus 15, this goes to bus 11, this goes to bus 12. What is this? Okay, this is other stuff that we don't need. So yeah, probably the bass is just this, and this is definitely bass. Yep. Yep. This is all bass stuff, so let's take it up here. That's another cool thing of Logic 10, is that you can just select tracks that are not close together, and as you move them, Logic is gonna just pack them together for you, and you can move them wherever, and it's really cool to, it's really easy and quick to organize that kind of stuff. That's all that thing. This is probably reverse thing. Oh, there's that wasn't used at the end, so we can get rid of it. That's the lead, and this is all the bass thing. Yeah. So all of this is bass, and it's probably going. It's all going to bus 11 and 15. So there are two ways of grouping tracks in Logic, and stacking track actually. And one is folder stack, and the other one is summing track. Now the difference between the two is actually quite a big difference. Summing track is what I usually use, and what it does is it creates automatically for you a bus where all the tracks are routed to. So you don't only see a group channel, a folder channel, but you also send everything to the same bus. So you can put reverbs, you can put compressor, EQs, and all that kind of stuff. So if I would do this, in this case, all my basses would go through the same bus. Let's pretend it's bus 15, and I could put all the effects in there. But the problem right now is that this goes to bus 15, but this goes to bus 11. So if I would use that packing folder, it would deroute this track to from bus 11 to bus 15 or whatever bus Logic decides to go through. And we don't want that. We want to keep this setting. So in this case, what we can do is create stack track, and we can do just create a folder stack. What's that going to do is simply going to create a folder channel that will include all of this without deroute anything. The routing is going to be exactly the same, and all we're going to have is simply a group of tracks summed together. And so let's do this, create a track, and there you go. You see, we only get a volume control, but if we go here, this goes to bus 15, bus 15, bus 11, stereo output, and bus 11. But what do we have now? We have one single channel for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 other channels. And so we can call this bass. And what I do is go here, hit the color, hit again. So if you click on a region, when you have the region selected, you can select the color of the region. For example, let's select this one for a second. All right, you see the region has this color, but when you deselect the region, you see that there's orange selected again, and that's because that's the channel color. So in the mixer, you see here, this is the color of the channel. And what I like to do is have the color of the channel the same color of the region. So you hit orange, then click out and hit orange again. And now we have our bass channel. Now all of this is basically percussions. Except for this one, which is probably another bass. Yeah, it's kind of a bass. Sorry, got a message. And what we can do is we can get this one and drag it into this folder. And so we're gonna create a new, it's just gonna expand our channel, and you see that there's a new color. So let's go back to this, do another color, and now all of this stuff, it's gonna be percussions. So what we're gonna do is, you're gonna see here what happens. Select everything, and you see that create stack track is not available. This is because of a stupid bug, I guess. I never really understood the reason as to why you can't do this, but the reason you can't create a stack track right now is because there is a folder region. Folder region is basically a region that includes different wave files. You do it sometimes when you want to loop things easily. Sometimes you have an audio file that isn't long enough to be looped properly within the grid. So what you do is simply place like 4. It's going to be easier to just do it. Okay, let's pretend that this clap is just this long and we want to have it looping like this. Okay, let's put it here so it's easier, right? In this case, we just place it manually, and then with the function, I have the shortcut, I have cmdf. It's going to create a folder, and then we can loop it, and that's super quick. But what happens is when you have a folder track, you can't do stack track, or at least not this way. So what you can do though is get 2 random channels that are not folder. For example, this is another folder. Okay, these 2 are in a folder. So create stack track is available now. What you do is create stack track. We still want a folder track because probably all the routing here is messed up. And we have this, we call it percussions. And now what we can do is simply select all of our regions. We want the clap, we want the noise, all that sort of stuff. Those are not percussions. And what we do is we drag it in here, and there you go. We have the percussion channel. Now, like I said, I want to follow the line of the colors, so I'm going to put the kick, the bass right after the kick. Then we have the percussion, and with the percussion, I actually want them to be at least this color. I know that these are kind of melodic things. What is this? This has nothing. Let's get rid of it. These are the melodic thing in the intro. So we still do folder track, melodic blips, and we put it here. Do color again. That's gonna be that. That's gonna be the stuff that plays in the drop. Call it drop sequence. Let's give it this color. All of this stuff is going to be our melodic things. So let's start from here and let's create stack track. This is the breakdown, so we call it breakdown. These are all effects, and those are effects too. So let's select them all, drag them so that they get all close together. We can't create a stack track, so let's select just 2 of them, create a stack track, call it effects, unpack this, get this stuff, put it in here, and let's give it this color. And these are the pads. Stack track, folder track again. It's kind of a boring job at some point, but you'll see in a second that that's kind of worth it. Okay, so these are the leads. Actually, let's move this one out because it's in the drop part as well. Create stack track. Call it leads. And there you go. Still have stuff that isn't here. Delete. This is probably an effects. Yep. So we can put it here. What is this? This is yeah, nothing useful, so let's get rid of it. And there you go. We basically, we didn't create our pad channel. Or maybe we did, but not enough stuff. It's all here. This is all pads. So there you go. Stuff that has nothing. So let's go back to coloring. We have the leads. Let's color them. So we have breakdown. Leads should be. Let's just make it this color. And pads. Let's make them this color. And there you have it. All of our channels are now packed into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different channels. And this is pretty handy even because when you solo one of them, you can bounce them really easily. Obviously, I would do it in a bit of a more accurate way. This has been something that I've done to be as quick as possible. But yeah, basically this is how cool Logic 10 is with this kind of stuff. Then, you know, if you go over here, you can unpack your stuff. And if you click Alt, you can unpack all of the folder at the same time, all of the channels folder at the same time. So yeah, this is how the project looks now. And it's a little bit more clean. It's a little bit easier to figure out what is what, especially once you learn your whole color thingy. So if I'm looking for the base, I know that it's over here. If I'm looking for something that is some sort of percussion, I look over here. If I'm looking for effects, this is where I wanna go and try find things. And yeah, this is how I organize and clean up all my projects. And at this stage, I'm definitely ready to go and do the final tweaks on the mix and EQs and all that kind of stuff. And then I export it and then I master the track into a different channel, sorry, into a different project. I never master the tracks on the same projects, mostly because I use a lot of heavy stuff, CPU heavy stuff, and so if it's already running into a project with live instrument and all that kind of stuff, it kind of destroys the CPU. So that's why I master on different projects. That's it. I hope this was handy, and from me, David 7 Skies. See you next time. Bye bye.